Whom the gods would destroy, they first make mad, is an old Latin saying, and the title of this next installment of Star Trek. We're about to land at an insane asylum on a planet called El Batu. There, we'll meet a once brilliant military leader driven to lunacy, who now wants to conquer and rule the known universe. If this conjures up images of Napoleon in exile, it was intentional on the parts of the writers Lee Irwin and Jerry Soule. Perhaps our fascination with insanity lies in the distorted images we see of ourselves. The evil we might do, the greatness we might strive for, the freedom we might feel. In madness, we may see our other selves, the ones that live just below the surface. Now, whom gods destroy.
I think that Star Trek is the electronic equivalent of comfort food.
I just don't watch a whole lot of television.
I was supposed to be loving and strict and sexy.
I was not a TNA actress at the time.
Carefree and efficient, all in one woman.
Well, I taught him how to eat meat.
That's a lot to ask.
Another show that I always wanted to be on and never got hired was Batman. I wanted to be in Batman.
Who doesn't know what Star Trek is?
I was always pretty resentful that I never got hired in that show. But I got, you know, it got made up for by being in Star Trek.
Nobody is doing anything for humanity because of Charlie's Angels, but I think they are doing it because of Star Trek.
What is your reaction, Mr. Spock?
Well, I find it mildly interesting and somewhat nostalgic.
I'm recognized for Lucira almost as much as Catwoman.
I want to touch you.
Beauty survives.
My fellow Kalandans, I, Lucira, wish you well.
We're all creatures of our time, or we certainly are creatures of a time that strikes the loudest, strongest chord within us. By that I mean you can get older and still, you know, there are women today wearing their hair in the coifs of the 1930s, elderly women whose hairstyle hasn't changed, are still living in that time.
I admit I'm getting a little gray, but radiation will do that to you.
Star Trek, frozen in its image of the 60s, is a product of its time, and I think that I can't remember that anybody on that show had a previous history where they were stuck. It seems to me that in those turbulent years, when each time you woke up, there was a new headline that offered new drama and potential disaster. No! And we kind of wended our way through those times, and people writing a story had that rat-a-tat-tat of the times, or that rhythm of the times, beaten into their head, and it had to reflect on the typewriter keys. I was recently talking to a drummer whose language was chicka ching chung, a chunga chugga chig. You know, that's the way he described what he does.
Jim, what are you doing? Digging a grave?
I do chicka chick pop 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 chicka pop pop. Well, in the 60s, we were doing pop 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 chicka chicka chick poop poop poop, and that was the way the stories in Star Trek went. Yvonne Craig, who plays Marta in this episode, was better known as Batgirl in the classic Batman television series. And Key Luke, who portrays Governor Corey in this installment, had quite the film and television career, with roles ranging from the classic The Good Earth to early Charlie Chan movies. But his most famous role was the blind Master Po who taught Grasshopper the finer points of martial arts in the television series Kung Fu.
They could teach us a thing or two.
I've seen very few of the other ones. I've seen a few of the movies. I admire people who enjoy going out and staying with Star Trek and staying with the adventures and such. But again, I come from the original series where we favored drama, where we favored characters over special effects. In the other Star Trek series and movies that were made, granted there was drama and there were characters, but I think the special effects is what has driven most of the episodes. Quite frankly, I prefer the original series.
If you're getting the impression that Star Trek was giving its children hand-me-down clothes, you're right. In Whom Gods Destroy, Marta's costume was a pared-down version of Venus' slave girl ensemble from the Cage, and the spacesuits from the Tholian Web make their reappearance together with Dr. Adams' robe. And the neural neutralizer chair is familiar from Daggers of the Mind. Between the skimpy budgets and declining ratings, we were quickly becoming aware that the end was near.